Barbara Theas and Kristen Harris. And we are going to be talking to these two lovely ladies. Kristen Harris lives her purpose every day, she's the managing editor for Sheen magazine. And then Barbara Theas worked her way to the top, and now she's unstoppable, guys. She's the founder of Gorilla 7 Marketing and Solutions, and she's worked for CBS Radio as a marketing branding strategist and an account executive at Hot 97 and WBLS. So, ladies, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? Barbara, are you here?
Yes, I am here. I'm here.
Awesome.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, ladies. Kristen, how are you? Thank you guys for even coming today. Thank you so much. Kristen, can you hear? I think you're muted. I think. Can you hear me, Kristen? No? Okay. Barbara, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
We're good? Okay. All right.
I think I'm finally good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, first of all, I'm going to just start off with you, Barbara. We're going to talk about basically what practices have you used to continue to climb the ladder in your career? I know you have a lot of things going on career-wise. Can you hear me, Barbara? Sorry, guys, we are having a little bit of technical difficulty. Robert, can you hear me? Okay, let's see. Kristen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm not sure what's going on with Barbara's audio, but Kristen, I guess we can start by asking you, what practices have you used to continue to climb the ladder in your career?
Ooh, let's see. I honestly think a main practice for me is self-awareness. Not only getting, creative or constructive criticism, but also learning and knowing, okay, I can do better here or I can do better here. Also, just always learning, reading, seeing how other people are doing it, not to, copy, but to get inspiration on how maybe you want to structure something. In this particular instance, maybe like an article or something like that, learning new ways to tell the story every day.
Yeah, and you've been managing with Sheen magazine for like a good 4 years now, right?
Yes, yeah. This was my first job my second job technically out of college.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. Barbara, are you okay? Can you hear me now?
I am. I had accidentally disconnected, of course.
Oh, that's
But I'm
okay.
here.
That's not a problem. I'm happy we got you here. So I want to ask you as well. I mean, what practices have you used, to continue to climb the ladder in your career?
Well, one practice that I think is very, very useful to know is to, no matter what level you are, is to put your best foot forward. So whether you're an intern or an assistant or, a part-time employee, if you're in the atmosphere, in the building, or in the category to where you want to be in, no matter what your position is, put your best foot forward of what that is, so that you're able to excel and have internal people recommend you for other opportunities. So that's one practice. Of course, networking is huge. Always being in touch with people within the industry that you can network and communicate with and discuss opportunities. Those would be my best two or useful practices, I would say.
Okay. And also, I just want to let you guys know that's viewing this right now, that is watching. We're talking about living your purpose in the editing industry and also making your way to the top in marketing and branding. So, and I want to ask you, Kristen, how do you know if you're living your purpose? And why is it important to feel complete in everything that you do?
Ooh, that is a good question. I like
Lucy.
that.
That's a good question.
So how do you know you're living your purpose? Do you get excited when you're doing whatever that task is? Even when things get hard, do you find a way to stay energized and make it work?
Mm.
Um, and also, are you helping is your gift helping other people? So whether or not that means you're, Barbara said, networking with other people and giving them your resources or whatever that may be, are you doing that? Because I feel like when you get those goosebumps moments, you're living in your purpose.
Absolutely. And Barbara, how do you feel about that?
How do you know you're living in your purpose?
Yeah.
When it feels organic, when it doesn't feel like you have to force solutions, like it kind of comes organically to you, whatever the challenge is. You know it when it doesn't feel like work. It just
Yeah.
feels like, okay, here's another thing that I have to do during the day,
And it's exciting.
So
I'm imagining it's exciting.
yeah, it's exciting. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like, okay, here's another task that I'm about to go do and something that I'm happy in. So when it comes out organically and when it feels good, that's how you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the city you're in makes a big difference, or do you feel like, with motivation and talent, you can go anywhere and succeed?
This is a great question for me, particularly at the moment, because I'm kind of in a crossroads of staying here or possibly entertaining going down south.
And here is
And I
Brooklyn,
do
New
think it
York,
makes a
right?
difference.
You're in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York. Yes,
Okay.
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Me too. Me too.
And for me, depending on your field, I feel as if you have more opportunity based on where you're at your career. So because I still find myself, or I still consider myself in the beginner stages, I would rather stay where opportunities are opening and I'm able to build more of a rapport, more case studies before I'm able to go out into and venture into other parts of the world. So I think that where you are makes a difference because you're local, right? So
Yeah.
you're in arm's reach of seeing people, of connecting with people, understanding the challenges in the marketing world. So it's easier in that sense. But as far as now challenging yourself, going somewhere you've never been, meeting a whole bunch of other new people, I definitely feel like down the line that's something that I would entertain. But for now, I'm a big champion of staying local and trying to uncover opportunities locally before you decide to venture off elsewhere.
Yeah. I think also because you live in New York, this is you don't even have to move because you're in the middle of everything,
Right.
Yeah. Whereas
You
Kristen,
are.
she lives in
Yeah.
Greenville, South Carolina, but she works for
Mm.
Sheen Magazine. So, Kristen, I want to ask you, like, do you feel like you don't have to move? You can be living in South Carolina and still, work for such a prestigious magazine.
Well, it's really interesting that this question came because we're a hidden gem kind of in that scene. A lot of people think that we're based in Atlanta because we tend to do a lot of events there. In
Mm.
terms of whether or not, the city matters, in my case for now, no, because I found this and we have media and we have marketing here, but it's not necessarily something as prominent as it is in the places you guys are in and, LA and all that stuff. So for us, that just means we have to travel a little bit more. We have to make those, 4 or 5 day trips to New York or to LA or, all those places. But for me right now, would say that your location does matter sometimes because of the inspiration that you get. Because I can only imagine, Barbara, and even for you, what it's like living in New York and you always see everything that you're doing every single day, as opposed to me. I drive down the street and there might be, a cow, next to the road or whatever, but for now, I'd say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not from New York, but I moved here like 15 years ago because, again, I needed to be where, entertainment was and in my field. So, yeah, I think it
Hmm.
is. But I feel like if you are motivated and you have that go getter in you, you know, you can
You
make it
could
anywhere.
do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a question from a student. What is the best way to handle rejection and move on from it? Because we all have experienced rejection some way, somehow. So, I mean, if you want to start, Kristen, what's a way?
How do you accept rejection?
Yeah,
Um,
move from it.
move on from it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, one, give yourself that moment to accept that you've had your rejection or whatever it may be, but also affirm yourself and knowing that another opportunity is coming. Just because that door closed on you doesn't mean that there's not, something better waiting on the other side. A lot of people tend to grow from rejection because it realigns your thought process and it makes you go a little bit harder. So to
Mhm.
move on, just remember that you have gifts and somebody will find your gifts worthy or, whatever it may be, because you are meant to, if you're meant to be in this space, you will be there.
Yeah. I always say, like, if it's God's protection is sometimes that rejection, like I'm like, you know what? It just wasn't meant for me for whatever reason, as much as I wanted something. It's just maybe that was God's protection.
Yeah.
I kind of think that so I don't feel, so bad about it. But Barbara, how do you feel when it comes to like,
Yeah.
how do you handle rejection? Because that's so hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first thing that came into mind was my faith. So I'm happy that you mentioned that about God's rejection is actually protection, because that's how I deal with it. I know that in my faith that everything that's supposed to come for me, that's aligned for me, and that is meant for me will get to me. And it's just a matter of time. I loved what you guys mentioned about rejection is kind of set you up for a better opportunity or kind of realigns your focus or thought process, because that happens too. It kind of, the rejection detours you to the acception or to be accepted to somewhere else kind of thing. I know it's so cliche. It's very cliche to hear, as a young person, as a student, if the door is closed, that means don't, it's very cliche to hear, but it's cliche and people say it because it's actually true.
Yeah.
So just remember that, remember that anything that's for you will not miss you, and that you will be redirected to what's yours. So that's how I deal with it.
I love that. Ladies, I want to ask you both, okay, the dream is in your hands. What does that mean to you? Kristen, if you want to start.
Oh man, the dream is in your hands. That means that you are fully fledged responsible for making your dreams come true. And of course, if God plays into that equation, then also leaning on Him as well. But I mean, honestly, you can't be complacent. You have to remember your dreams. And on those days when it gets hard, you have to go for your dreams. I think that it's really interesting now because, we tend to blame other people for why we're not successful. But you have to remember that that's your dream. It's not anyone else's.
Yeah,
And when you do feel like, why am I doing this? Remember, again, you have gifts and you're going to get to that dream if it's meant to be.
that's great. That's really good stuff. And Barbara, same question. The dream is in your hands. What does that mean to you?
So when I think about the dream is in your hands, I think about this conference, right?
Yeah.
So for a young person or a student or someone trying to look for information, look at what you're doing. You're looking up a webinar, right? And you're learning from people within the industry. And that's what I think about. The dream is in your hands, meaning that you are responsible and you have the tools to make your dreams come true. And it's up to you to figure out what that is and to navigate through life, navigate through your mental health, navigate through your career with that. So the dream is in your hands, meaning do everything that you can to make it happen, because again, it's your dream.
I like that you even included mental health. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think that's a big thing right now,
Yeah.
in the time that we're living. So take
Yeah,
it.
well, we touched on it a little bit with like rejection, right? How
Yeah.
to deal with rejection. And it's a mental game. You have to like psych yourself out and keep positive thoughts in to let yourself know, okay, yes, this didn't happen for me, but I know something of mine will come down the line. And if you don't have those good mental health practices, they will deter you in your journey. Unfortunately for some people, they might take that rejection and never go back into their field again or never go back into trying again because they had negative mental health practices where they said, well, I'm not good enough. Well, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe, I should go into something else. And it's very important to keep it smart. Yeah. It's very important to keep it healthy because it affects your journey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say some people
Yeah.
don't even know how to handle rejection either. They're just like, once they're rejected, they're like, oh, I quit, on to the next. This wasn't for me. And
Put their hands up.
yeah, yeah,
Surrender.
they surrender way too
Yeah.
fast sometimes. Yeah, yeah,
And
Yeah.
even to
And that's
feedback.
why it's important to have good mental health practices so that we know how to counteract those feelings and negative emotions so that we continue on to our journey.
yeah. What,
And
were you going
Yeah.
to say something, Kristen?
yeah, even to piggyback off of what you guys are
Yeah,
mentioning, don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid to talk to someone if you
that's
need it.
good. Yeah,
I had a friend the other day be like, hey, I actually went and got that help that I needed and they were able to do XYZ for me. So don't be afraid of it because I think that there's still that negative stigmatism around it, but don't be afraid.
I love that. I love that because
Yeah.
it is true. Like we get scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm hired for this job, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And, and yeah, I love that. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Super important. I think that's
Yeah.
really, you
Yeah.
guys are dropping gems on us today. I love that. I love that. Ladies, where can we find you? Like, where can we follow you on either social or if there's a site that we can, follow you on? Please let us know. Barbara, I know
Yeah.
you're in
Well,
New
well,
York. I hear the traffic.
I'm definitely in New York. And right now I am just handling business through my Instagram, which is ms.theus_, which is my last name. So miss.theus, my last name /_. And right now I'm working with local small businesses, I would say. And really my career, or I would say my goal, is to help small businesses that have an agenda for minority children and who have financial literacy and anything that's helping the community. Those are the businesses that I want to work with. So right now I have charter schools, health insurance, and I'm looking to even get eye doctors and places in my portfolio. So really anything that's helping the community, helping us be better and financial independence, like I want to work with them. So hit me up. I am here in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm staying. So
Yeah.
looking forward to connecting with anyone.
Awesome. Oh, awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And Kristen, how can people
Yeah.
follow you
Thank
as
you.
well? Yeah.
On Instagram, I am Kristen Harris. It is KRISTYN.
Okay. Spells it with
Same
a Y, guys.
with a Y.
Yeah.
Same for
With the
Facebook.
Y.